Welcome to the second episode of Time Out with Gabii. I am Gabii by nature, and with me here is one of Edmonton's most creative drag queens, Celine Dejion. Welcome to my show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me
You're
and for
welcome.
calling me
Right, how are you feeling
creative.
today? You are creative.
I'm feeling fantastic.
Great.
And
You are a champion. You're creative. I also came out
you're a
creative today.
champion, greatest of them all,
One of
a
one of
champion.
Edmonton's most popular Barbie.
Most popular, not one of Edmonton's most popular Barbie, Edmonton's premier popular Barbie.
Period.
International sensation, Celine Dijon.
Great. You're one of the most.
National sensation. I haven't left Canada yet.
You're one of the most open performers and queens out. One of the most open queen out there.
What
You've
part of me is open?
the whole. I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, there was one time this dude said, "Your hole is my goal," and
Oh, who's the dude?
we don't talk about him.
Okay,
We're here to talk about me.
right. It's all about you. How you feeling once again?
I'm feeling like $1,000,000, like a crisp $7 bill.
You mean $100 bill?
No, seven.
Okay. So can you take us back to what your childhood was like as Celine? Like how did you um
What child are we talking about? Celine or Tanner?
okay, like how did you evolve from Tanner to become this drag superstar you are?
Okay.
And like your talent of sewing and being creative, like how did that all come together? Can you just give us a throwback on what that was?
A throwback. So, back in my day, when I was in high school, so like 5 years ago, it's actually more. We're coming up on a decade.
Right.
I was, but so I guess high school and elementary school, I was very into the performing arts. And so I just was destined for stardom. And after I left high school, I kind of like wanted something, but I didn't know what form of outlet to go for because like most of the stuff in Saskatoon was musicals, and I have a
Okay.
singing voice, but I don't think I should
Ooh.
flex a singing voice. Just because you have it doesn't mean you should use it. And so
Use it.
I went to the bar one night back when I was a very big bar star,
Hmm.
and there was a drag show going on, and I was like, "What is
Sorry, what
this?"
bar is that?
It was Diva. It is Diva. It was Divas in Saskatoon.
Okay.
And so there was a drag show going on, and I was just entranced by it. And was kind of like, "What is this
Yeah.
amazingness?" I kind of want to do it. So this was February of 2016, and then I gave myself the goal of wanting to try it for the first time in September of 2016 because Saskatoon
Oh my god, that's a long time.
a
I was in
monthly
high
show.
school.
I'm old. Used to have a monthly show, and it used to be the last Thursday of the month. So I was like, okay, September is going to be the one that I do it. But then the September show rolled around, and it happened to come sooner than the last Thursday because they brought a special guest, which was Coco Montrese, who I met and had no idea who she
Who she
was
was.
because I hadn't watched a single episode of Drag Race. And so didn't do the September show, but I said, you know what? Well, it's cool. We'll do the October show. So October rolls around, and I did my first performance.
Oh.
It was Me and My Girls by Selena Gomez, and it was just supposed to be a one-time thing. So I just chose the name Celine because I was like, I don't want to do Selena. That's too on the nose and weird.
Yeah.
So we just went Celine, come out, do Me and My Girls in what would be probably not a good costume to wear now. And
Did you make it yourself?
no,
Okay.
it was a very Amazon. When I started, I was an Amazon thrifty queen.
Okay.
And so did this performance, crushed it. Then I ran back to my friend who I ran the idea by and was like, these are all my other ideas. And there was like 5 other ideas. And they were like, I thought it was supposed to be a one-time
Man,
thing. What the
yeah, you
hell?
fell in love.
Fell in love with it. And then the ball just kind of started rolling. I got into the monthly shows. roster, which like back then was, I want to say, some of Saskatoon's best drag. Some of those queens no longer live in Saskatoon. Some of them are still performing, and some of them have retired from performing, which is sad to see them go. But we gotta honor where we started and when it was time for us to stop.
So it was easier to get gigs back then, or
Um,
as a newbie, as a baby drag
Well, it was
performer.
a little bit easier. I mean, now there's definitely, like in Saskatoon, from what I can see on Instagram, there's a lot more frequent shows happening
Mm-hmm.
opposed to just that one a month. There's a weekly show that Shanali hosts called,
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure what the name is, but it's a pun on driving and drag.
Oh,
And then it's at Hose and Hydrant, I think. I'd have to fact check all of this, but yeah, so they've evolved a lot more. But so have I, because when I started, I was, as I said, a thrifty Amazon queen. Didn't have a lick of like I knew my way around a sewing machine, but not how to
do
three
it.
dimensionalize something. And back in high school, in PAA class, we took, which stands for Practical Applied Arts, we took a little sewing portion in our semester. And so I learned how to sew pajama pants and a pillow.
Oh my
So
god.
then to like kind of flex myself on the sewing machine, I just got into sewing pillows, and I have a bunch of different little throw pillows. And so just kind of did pillows. And then in the initial lockdown that happened in 2020, I started sewing doll clothes. So I made a few different Barbie clothes, which was really fun. And then said, you know what? We want to get on Drag Race. That's kind of the goal.
Yeah.
So we need to take it from a doll to
Human.
human.
Yeah.
So we just went, bought a sewing machine, bought some fabrics, had some help from a local queen here in Edmonton, and started pumping out garments.
Oh, you mentioned earlier that you got your name Celine from Selena.
Yes.
How about the Dijon?
The Dejion came from another queen that was doing drag at the time. One of my favorite queens, Octavia is Dead. If you have YouTube, if you have access to YouTube, go and check out her channel. She no longer does drag, so her name was Octavia is Dead, and then she did die, but she's not actually dead. Just
Okay, great.
Octavia is dead. R.I.P. Octavia. But anyway, so Octavia came up to me the one show, and she's like, "All right, it's time for you to use Dejion as your last name. Otherwise, I'm not like getting you in any more shows." And I was like, "No, you can't do that to me. I'm just a helpless baby."
Right?
So we gave into peer pressure, and we adapted the name Dejion, but we put our own twist on the spelling.
Yeah. I mean, it actually sounds great, and like they suit each other, like Celine and Dijon,
Well, yeah, it was just
right?
like so it's a play
So
on, it's a pun on Celine Dion.
yeah, I thought that's what we were actually going for, but I'm surprised to hear Selena.
Yeah, no, it was definitely Selena.
That's great. It's great to see how you have like transitioned from like this person who just said it was going to be a one-time thing to like this superstar who can literally sew whatever they wanted where within minutes.
Minutes, baby. We got
Right.
one stitch. Minutes.
So how would you say the drag scene now in Edmonton? Like when you moved to Edmonton, like how was the drag scene like back then? Was it during
Um,
COVID?
yeah, so I moved in August of 2020 and had just gone back to Saskatchewan to host a gig, and then came back. It was a Sunday near the end of August, and so I came back and I was like finally here in Edmonton, and there was a drag show happening because it was in that weird flux of time where we were in lockdown and then not
Yeah.
lockdown and then in lockdown and then not lockdown. Wear
It's
masks indoors,
crazy.
but you can take them off if you're drinking. Made no fucking sense. And went to the show at Evolution, which was hosted by God and Agata. It was March Madness in August, and got to talking to God and Agata after the show, and was like, "Hey, my name is Celine Dijon, insert government name. I just moved here and I do drag," and then was kind of wondering like, what's the best motion of getting my foot through the door, and they said, you know what, we'll give you a shot, and they booked me in their
Oh,
following September
thank you,
show,
God.
which was a Selena Gomez inspired show,
Oh my
right?
god,
Some
yeah.
weird full circle moment.
For you.
Yeah, because my first song in Saskatoon was
With
Selena
Celine,
Gomez.
yeah.
Moved to Edmonton, and my first song was Selena Gomez. So whichever the next city that I move to, I have to break
Celine,
the ice with
yeah.
a Selena Gomez song.
You better do the countdown.
What's the countdown?
You don't know Countdown by Rema and Selena? It's an
Oh,
Afrobeat song.
I
That's
haven't heard
okay.
it. I'm not educated.
Selena really killed the song. I was gonna ask about how you started working in the booth. Because I mean, I've seen you a few times in the booth at the bar where you do some DJ work and everything. Like, what
Work
was
in the
that
booth.
at the bar?
What booth? The DJ booth? Oh,
Yeah.
I've worked up DJ booth once.
Oh, how was that? I know I was there. It was great as a
A viewer?
viewer. Yeah. So how was it
Okay.
for you? Because I know it was like a last minute thing, right?
So I was just going to attend a show, and then Rob said, "Hey, do you want to learn how to do booth?" So I said, "Sure." What's one more thing under my belt? So got thrown in the booth. He was like, "These are kind of the lighting cues. You do this to do the tracks. Easy." So it was just push play. It wasn't like I was out there spinning the tracks. My biggest fear was don't fuck up and push pause or double click the
Right.
wrong
True.
track
Well,
and
you didn't
start
do any of
someone's
that, so that's great.
someone don't start someone's track in the middle of
Before,
someone else performing.
can
Make
that?
sure that the queens are lit, and some like work in the booth, and then there was two performers on stage doing their thing, and then the one just comes to the back and she's like, "Nope, cut the track, we're done." And I thought it was on me, but it turns out the one just ran off stage because she got a little sick in the moment.
Oh,
And
yeah. I
I was
think
like,
I remember. I remember something like that
and
happened.
so I was like, I thought it was me, and I was like, "Oh,"
Not
but it wasn't me.
you. You Slade. And I know you have a lot. You have a lot of friends from Canada Drag Race and RuPaul, like RuPaul Drag Race. Like, how did that come about? Like, how do you get to meet them and be friends with them? Because I know yesterday as well, you also helped what's her name, Lady Camden,
Yeah,
take her bag inside and everything, and you helped with the meet and
changing her.
greet.
Yeah,
Like,
so
how?
oh, go.
Explain. Go ahead and tell us how that all happened.
So it all started. Picture it, Sicily, 2001. I'm just kidding. We're not. You're just invested. You're like,
Right?
what happened in
Spill the
Sicily?
tea.
So it was February of 2020, before the panini
Pandemic.
hit. I took a little trippy trip out to Vancouver, and I took. Oh my god, I can't even speak. I took in a show hosted by Scarlett Bobo
Oh yeah.
and the Girlfriend Experience. And so these two divas do this show, and they had Ilona Verley as their guest. So, as you do as at a drag show, you take videos and you tag the performers, so that all your friends back
Home
home
can see it.
can see all these fierce fucking performers and maybe
Yeah.
step themselves up. Who knows? That's not a read at anybody, or is that? Um, and so tagged these dolls, and then we go into lockdown. But fast forward to July of 2020, Canada's Drag Race is announced, and guess who's in it? Scarlett Bobo and Alona Verley. And I was like, holy fuck, I've
These
just
people you
seen
saw.
them.
Oh my god. Yeah. I
I had
get
no
it.
idea. Weird. But they filmed in November of 2019, so it was already filmed and everything when they came back.
Yeah.
So they were already like sitting on that secret
Yeah.
at that time. And so that was kind of how my threshold started with becoming friends with, in a sense,
Drag.
them, like
Yeah.
just DM buddies. Because I'd be like, go back and forth with Ilona or respond to her story, and she'd react to it. And I was like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And then Rob brought her last June. So just before or just after she was announced, I kind of reached out to Rob, and I was like, hey, could I, like, I'm kind of DM buddies with Ilona. Would I be cool with driving? Would you be cool if I drove her? And he gave it to me. So it was all like, thanks to Rob, kind of, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
trust. And
Thank
then,
you, Rob.
thank you, Rob. And so started with Ilona, and then Kine came the next day. So he was like, well, when you drop off Ilona, Kine basically, like,
Pick up. Yeah.
one leaves and the other one gets here. Would you mind just driving her back into downtown? So I said, sure, why not? I'm already out there.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to Uber her it. And then And then Bible Girl was the third queen that I got to drive. Now I knew Bible Girl. She was the first famous queen that I got to meet back in 2016 when I was still like a fresh baby.
Yeah.
So she came to Saskatoon and partied, and it was like this weird weekend for her where she kind of like lost. It was like she calls it, I think, her forgotten weekend because she lost access to all of her socials except for Facebook for some reason.
Oh my
So
god.
she couldn't document any of that trip. So when Bible Girl was announced that she was coming for Canada Day, I was like, holy fuck. Edmonton's not even ready for Bible Girl. So I like reshared the old photo or the photo from
Of her, and
2016 of
she
us.
loved it. Oh
She
my.
like responded, "Oh fuck yeah, can't wait," and then followed me right then. So then when she was coming, I was like, "Hey Rob, like kind of DM friends with Bible because we kind of started going back and forth." So got to drive her, and then just kind of asked for Kiara as well because I bumped into her at Evo. So she came Canada Day long weekend, and she came into Edmonton at the end of May. So like kind of like bumped into her and started chit chatting.
Hmm.
And I found out that I had her on my drag Facebook,
Oh.
but like this would have been a random ad that I would have sent out or she sent me before she was again on Drag Race. So just kind of like was like, hey, yeah, I'm kind of like internet friends with Kiara as well. So then, yeah, it just kind of took off from those four, I would say.
Oh my god. That's so amazing to hear. What's your take on what's happening in the States with all these drag bands and like um no reading of books to kids when like these books were literally set by the authorities, made it part of the curriculums, and then you have people reading it. Like it's just like the cops going to the school to read books to them, right? So
Yeah.
what's the difference between when a drag queen reads it and like what's your take on this banning and everything?
I think that that's crazy what's going down in the States. And I think that everyone, even if it I think everyone needs to kind of just throw their voice out there because what a lot of people in society do is we sit back if it doesn't
Yeah, affects us.
affect us.
Yeah,
So because this issue doesn't affect me personally, I don't have to speak up on it, and that's not the case. If you are avid goer of drag, or you love drag, or you love just the television show Drag Race, um, you need to share that and let your family, your friends on your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, you need to let them know, hey, I support this. So if you don't, then maybe you need to look in the mirror.
yeah.
It's not really something that you should sit back on because it doesn't affect me. I think that one of the things that's kind of the saddest about society is a lot of people have the mentality of until it happens to me,
I'm not
it
bothered.
doesn't
Yeah,
bother me. It doesn't, I don't, my voice doesn't do anything. But what you're not aware of is that your voice does do something because if if there's a room of 100 people and all of those people have over 50 Instagram followers,
yeah.
and so all of those people in that room share something
We
to their
need to learn
story,
that
there
in
might be
this
a
city.
little overlap, but there's not going to be a lot of overlap because now your reach has gone to
He'll
your
reach.
50
Yeah,
people and my reach has gone to my 50 people that don't follow you or don't follow me, and then maybe one in maybe 10 out of those 50 will then extend that reach to their 50 people, and that's kind of like how it goes. So I think that everyone should pay attention to what's going on, and just because it doesn't quote unquote affect them personally or directly, or they support it but they don't feel they should speak up on it, do speak up on it. It's doing story times and readings. People are like, oh, it's just some coded thing, and it's like it's really not coded.
yeah.
We read, there'd be like, I did one last summer and I read just books. I read it's called it was something about it's a crayon, it's a story of a crayon that um the wrapper says red but it's blue, and so it's kind of like the story of this crayon that's supposed to be red but they color blue and they can't figure out why
It's
they
blue. Yeah.
do, and so then they try to like mix with this color to like so they could be like mixing with like this crowd of people, but then it's still not doing what it's supposed to do. And so it's just about like this crayon kind of finding who it's supposed to be and just learning to accept itself.
Yeah, true. Like I told God earlier, what's it called? When I was in high school, I always like, I wouldn't say struggle, but I always was, if, how do I word it? I was always preserved that I didn't want people to talk about my sexuality or whatever, right? Because like I schooled in the UK, and like um there was this day this guy called me a gay, and I just, his light skin, right? And I just like got pissed and like slapped him, because then I was afraid of letting people know who, that I was part of the queer community, right? And those are things that affected people around my age, because then we couldn't really speak up or have a voice. You know, there was a time I was also ganged up on by a group of people like, oh, you don't play football, you don't play soccer, you don't do this, and I'm like, oh my God, do I have to start doing that to prove that I'm in, you know?
Yeah.
And like there was this guy who called me a gay, and I just like got pissed and I like slapped him. I could see my four fingerprints on his cheek.
You
Like I
gave it to
went home,
him.
I was literally scared, because like I'm like, oh my God, what's gonna happen tomorrow? Are his parents gonna come? Like, are the cops gonna come? Luckily, nothing happened. But I think that was also a learning curve for the guy to not do such a thing again. But meanwhile, every time I see your post on Instagram, you're always, anytime I see your post with a drag queen, from International Drag Queen, you're always doing this. What is that about? Tell us.
We just did like a full 260. We're coming back to me. So what is the infamous? We call it in my friend group. We
And
call it the
Photoshop.
Celine.
Oh, Celine.
Yeah. So the Celine is you. I don't want to give it away.
You better on the show.
So I whisper something to them, which makes them hate me for that moment. I act surprised. They hate me. And then it's just an iconic moment.
How many queens have you done it to? Because I know there was some you photoshopped.
So it all started with Bianca Del Rio.
Oh, great.
So back in the day, we would do like on their tours and whatnot. They would do meet and greet, so you could spend quite a bit of money, a pretty penny for a ticket to get a photo. So it's like, look it, I met this
Yeah.
queen, but it's really just look it, I'm broke because I met this queen.
I mean, if you don't have fans who could give you tickets, honey, I don't know what you're doing.
But so I'm just kidding. All jokes aside, because I feel like drag is expensive. You got to pay for it.
Yeah, it's really expensive.
So it started with Bianca. I got a photo with her, and I was like, "Hey, can I get a second one just for like?" Because prior Bianca, I think, was maybe my fourth queen I got to meet, and prior to all of these photographers, there was like a few professional photographers, and then just amateur people, and all of them would just snap one photo, and that was what you got. So it was like,
oh my God,
I paid $75, and I looked like goof in one of my meet and greet photos. I didn't even want to post it because I was like, I was holding everything. I wasn't even ready. They were like, and you're done. So
a group
Bianca,
photo?
no, it was just a single photo with
Okay.
me and that queen. But I was like, I was holding all my stuff. I
Oh
wasn't
yeah, okay, I
prepared for
get
the
it.
photo.
Yeah.
So when I met Bianca, I was like, hey, can I do one more? She's like, yeah, sure. Stand there and act excited.
Aww.
So I did that. And then she gave me this judgy face. So
Since
then I said, you know what? We should bring that back. So then I started it with, I think it was Candy Muse. Yeah, I think it was Candy Muse when she came back in September. I started it with her, and then ever since I've just been kind of doing it. And everyone in the audience is like
laughing.
Yeah,
into
the people.
it.
It's kind of one of those things where it's like the people that get it,
Get it, yeah.
and the people that are like, this is maybe their first time at the show. They're like,
what's
okay,
happening?
that's
Right?
hilarious. Look at this bitch popping off.
Who's your favorite out of town drag queen, international or local?
Out of Edmonton.
Yeah.
Oh wow, you're gonna really make me expose that?
Do it.
One of my favorite artists. I'm like, I'll give you an artist out of each city that I've gotten the opportunity to either like perform with or work with. So an artist that I really, or there's too many artists in Vancouver to like have to pick one. But a handful of people that I love in Vancouver. We're gonna go with like that didn't make it on TV because that narrows it down a little bit. Just kidding. But I really love the Girlfriend Experience, Berlin. Fierce trans performer, amazing, stunning, beautiful goals. Hairography as well. Karajuku from Vancouver, Rogue from Vancouver, Eva
Oh yeah, I
Scarlett
love
from
Rogue.
Vancouver. Um, Hip hop chanteuse who is Cleopatra Compton. Vancouver's just got such a sickening
Yeah,
stack of
fierce, please.
performers
Yeah.
because there's like so many. Um, and then Saskatoon, Stony Mac. Oh shit, we said we weren't gonna do people that go made it to TV. Stony Mac is like one of my all-time faves. Like I will always, if ever the opportunity is around to book them, I will book
Book
them.
them, yeah.
Um, Stony Mac, Sad Sally, Karma K Million or Karma K. I think she dropped it too. Shanali, Calgary. Wow, this is like Calgary. Adipose, Dana Hart.
Yeah, oh my god, I love Dana.
Shout out to Dana. Misty Meadows and Toronto. I don't know a lot of the performers in Toronto, but the few that I have had gotten the opportunity to work with that were just like so kind were Peachy or just Peachy. I think just Peachy is their handle. Sofonda Cox
Oh.
and Van Gogh, and then there was one other queen that was performing that night, but I forgot her. And in Winnipeg, Feather,
Oh, I haven't heard of them.
oh, great Indigenous artist.
I mean, like, I'm still new to the scene, right? I've been doing this for 4 months or 5 months. So with time, I would get or know them. So let's dive right into your favorite performance.
Of my own or that I've seen?
Yours.
My favorite performance to date would probably have to be Grown Woman.
Oh my
I'm just
god.
kidding.
Bitch.
You were like, I loved it. On repeat. Thank you, Dragging
Yo,
Our
better go
Heels.
see Grown Woman by Celine because
Thank
she
you,
ate the
Dragging Our
fuck
Heels,
up.
for capturing that.
Right? Thank you, Dragging
Um,
Our Heels, for what you do for the drag community. And thank you,
hold
Red
on,
Sox.
yeah, thank you, Red Sox. Big shout out to Red Sox.
Right? Hopefully she's gonna be my guest one day.
But Darla would do it. Just ask her.
I
Okay, but
know.
anyways, back to my favorite performance because Grown Woman was all right, but I wasn't in the best headspace when doing it. I would say
Okay.
that to date, I'll give you two. One was when I did a ballad as comedy, which was "Take a Bow" by Rihanna,
Ooh.
and I like just really leaned into like the dumbness of it. And then the second time or the second performance was Skin by
I
Rihanna.
knew you were gonna say that because you put a lot of effort into that. It's expected.
All the effort was in those
No,
nails that not being
I
able to do
remember
anything.
and the nude and everything.
And the nudity. Tightest
The
tuck.
jacket and everything. You had a new fan. Like someone was obsessed with you the other day.
Who? Oh, at the end of that
Yeah.
day, someone was obsessed with me. The audience was obsessed with me.
Right?
Everyone went back on my Instagram and said, that VPL, where'd it go?
And we have to thank what's their name? Okay, I won't say it anymore, so I don't misgender someone on my show. Anywho, what's your least favorite performance?
My least favorite performance. I don't think I have like a least favorite. There's some that I guess I wouldn't go back maybe and watch because I just wasn't. I know I wasn't in like the best headspace when doing it, but I still think that I kind of, for not being 100%, I still turned it out. There's been a few times where I've slipped up on words, and thankfully there isn't video documentation of that. But yeah, like least favorite, nothing really comes to mind.
So when you say you're not in the right headspace, does that mean you need time to prepare yourself to make sure you do great, or what do you mean by
Right
that?
headspace.
Yeah.
sometimes it's just like
Life.
something might have happened during that day that might have put me in a damper mood, or like a few years ago in Saskatoon, I kind of was on a rickety week. I had gotten like my paycheck. I just remember the one paycheck. So it felt like I spent all my fucking time at work, and then I got my paycheck and it was $425.95. And the only thing that like I thought of was if I had to pay rent off of this paycheck, I would have 95 cents.
Oh my god.
And that just kind of like
Berkey.
spiraled me a little bit. And then like just a few other things that kind of happened throughout that week, and it was just kind of like, oh, it was like just really felt like it was like one thing after the other, and just kind of had had a performance um that Friday, I think, but I wasn't 100% on it, and then just kind of had like a gross little blow up, not at anybody. It was just at myself in a sense, because I used to be very negative headspace. Now I know how to get myself out of that, which is perfect.
Thank God.
And yeah, just kind of had like a little bit of a mental breakdown. Um, Took a little trip, a little flight, popped over here to Edmonton, came to visit a friend, went out, had a good time, and then like went back, and then I just kind of like changed. In a way, I changed the narrative. I got a second job for a minute, and then I got a
Look at
better job,
you.
and was just kind of like, you know what, we're not gonna let like money define
You
where, like
you
we're not gonna
go and
let
yeah.
money define our happiness. Just try to make sure our bills are paid and
True. Move
keep
on
your
with your
fucking head
life.
afloat.
True. Yeah. I believe there's also like a mental health helpline.
I don't know. Yeah, there is, but I don't know
Yeah.
the number.
So for the LGBTQ community, so if you're going through anything
Reach out to a
mentally,
friend.
yeah, reach out to a friend,
Phone your mother, and if you don't have a mother, phone a friend.
or you can just go online and go to Alberta Works,
What if
or
you're not in Alberta? If you're not in Alberta, still call Alberta Works.
if you're not in Alberta, look for the nearest helpline or help center that's around you. You know, we need you here. We need you around. Don't hurt yourself because you're important and you matter. Just like Celine.
I matter?
You matter to us.
You're the first person to tell me that
Oh,
today.
okay. I've seen throwback photos of you where you had the afro and curls,
Afro and curls.
right?
Okay.
Was that in high school or something?
Oh, like as a boy. Are we talking about a wig or my
No,
actual hair?
your actual hair.
There's no afro here.
No, I said a throwback picture.
What did I have? Two straight eyes or a crooked one?
Honey, I don't even remember, but I know I seen a photo of you.
Just
If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine.
yes, in high school, I thought it was a really good idea because I have
It
naturally
is.
curly hair. I was like, let's not let this thing grow out,
I
and it's
love
gonna be
it.
so fucking sickening. And it looked like, looking back at photos, I'm like, that was definitely a rat's nest, and
No,
I should
honey, you
have
know
chopped
this
it.
guy from High School Musical, right? Was
Corbin Blue. That's what I
yeah.
was trying to be.
That's what you look
Girl,
like.
I look like Zero from Holes.
I'm sorry if anybody told you otherwise. You're listening from the person who loves curls. That was amazing.
You love Holes?
Curls
Oh.
and the afro, because the reason why I don't keep mine is because like the heat. Like I just when it start itching, like I can't.
Did yours ever like get matted in the back?
No, never.
You see, I think your hair is like more coarse than mine was, because mine would always get matted in the back, so it'd be like ripping these like essentially like dreadlocks
Yeah.
apart, and so I was like trying to figure out what would do to stop that. It was
Like it's a
not the best.
full time job doing that because like people who keep their hair and I'm like
Amen
bravo,
to you. I've had
right?
cornrows before too.
Really?
My hair was long enough. We straightened it once in grade 8 and in high school, and it came. I had like, did you? You might be a little too young for this, but Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, and there was a character on there. Google it after this. There
Okay.
was a character on there. His name was Coconut Head, And that's legitimately what I look like with my hair straightened. If you go back enough on my
Your
Facebook,
hair straightened.
you go back far enough on my Facebook profile photos, there's a photo of me in probably grade 8 or 9 with my hair straightened, and it was a time. And then there was also a time in grade 9 or 10 where we straightened my hair, and I think it was 10. I had a friend straighten my hair, and then like in gym class, everyone put their pencil in it.
Oh, that's creative though. But was that offensive? Did you take that as an offense or
No, I thought it was stupid,
right?
and it wasn't any kind of a cultural appropriation because I didn't have buns. It's just literally pencils in
Yeah.
my hair, hidden.
That well, it's a little bit creative, but I don't know if you didn't like it, then it is what it is.
Oh, I didn't mind. I'm like I don't know. I think a lot of people have trauma. What I've chosen to do with my trauma is my business. So back the fuck up. I'm just kidding.
Being used.
I tend to take my traumatic experiences or awkward situations and I just crack a joke. So if somebody's like, "Oh, so and so just died in my family," and then they like start crying, I'm not a disrespectful person. I don't know how to handle that. So I'm just
Yeah.
kind of like, "Oh, make them laugh." But then also, like, what the fuck am
You're
I out here trying to
sympathetic.
crack
Yeah.
jokes for? You, like, I want to be that friend that's there for everybody. But sometimes I just don't necessarily know the verbiage. So
Yeah.
I also just love like those unspoken friendships where you just hang out. Like one of my best friends in Saskatoon, I would always just be like, "Hey, what are you up to?" And she'd be like, "Oh, not much." She'd be like, "Do you want to come hang out?" So she would like come hang out. So it'd be like us hanging out while I do my house chores or do my dishes or go grocery shopping, just like nothingness hangouts where we don't really say anything, but we're just kind of there vibing and just having each other's unspoken like conversation. I love those kind of hangouts.
Great then. That's good to hear.
And those kind of friends are very important to have, especially the ones where you'd like. Because I know I would call her up and be like, "Yo, I'm going grocery shopping. I want somebody to come with me. Are you busy?" She'd be like, "I was gonna just like kind of do this, but I could come." And I'm like, "Let's do it." And she was like, "Thank you for pulling me out of the house because I was kind of a little bit
Yeah.
depressed, but I didn't necessarily know it."
Yeah. Friends like that are good to keep around because like they're always gonna be there for you at
Are
your
you crying?
lowest.
Did I touch your
Yeah,
soul?
you tap myself. I need a friend like Celine.
Girl, it's okay. I seen you put the onions under your eyes.
Oh my What was your coming out story like? How
My
did you
coming out story?
yeah, how did your family take it?
We don't talk about Bruno.
Right. Okay, we won't talk about Bruno, but we'll talk about me. So me, like
I'm just kidding. What bitch? You're interviewing me. I ain't interviewing you. Have it behind the scenes to let the people know who Gabii by nature is.
right.
My coming out story was I kind of questioned it a little bit here and there, and then when I started watching porn, I was like, "Oh,
18 plus, please.
I'm gonna watch Guy on Guy so that I don't defile what the what it would be like to be with a woman." So we've justified it by watching Guy on Guy, but I kind of like that.
You said we. Who are the people?
Me and my voices in my head.
Okay. Okay.
Telling me that I could be straight.
Okay.
Because like there was also a time where I was at a friend's place and she's a little bit older, so she put her boyfriend's porn on, and it was like me. It was weird. Like nothing was happening, but it was just like she was like, "Here, watch this," to like me and her brother. But then I was like
Oh
more
my god, how
focused,
old were you at that age?
probably grade 9. But I
What
was
the
like,
fuck?
it was stupid. But I was like more focused on the peen. So then when I started watching my own porn, I was like, I'm gonna watch Guy on Guy, but I like the double peen. But then I was like, that bitch ain't sucking dick. She's like, oh, and there's like just the head in the mouth. I'm like, okay. Um, and then, um, so then I just kind of like was like, I think I started to realize that I was, and then when I was in grade 11, there was a few guys that I went to high school with that I was like, okay, he's like kind of cute, he's kind of cute, whatever.
Yeah.
And then there was one dude that I was like, he's kind of cute, and then he found out he was gay as well. So then I was kind of like,
Love
hmm.
story.
No. So then like um we kind of ended up in like the same circle at one point, and then I was having my first party, my first little house party, because my mom just had our house renovated. So I invited all of these friends, and then
He came.
he came, and then
Oh,
like I like didn't like I was like, oh, what do we do at like high school parties? So it was like very cliche. It was like we play like spin the bottle, we play beer pong, we play this, we play that. So I kind of like did like spin the bottle truth or dare. And so I tossed in a few dares before people got there, and then I like left it open so that anybody could throw in a few dares if they wanted to, if they had a really good one or whatever. And so like I knew I had thrown in a couple of like dare you to kiss me kind of things. So we like spin the bottle, and then you'd get the person, you'd be like truth or
yeah.
dare, and there was a bowl of truth and a bowl of dares. And
Also, you just pick anyone.
so then it was like everybody was kind of like um in their own kind of thing. So I was like, okay, it's my turn. So I like spun it, but then like kind of like made it stop in between like two people, which was like him and this other girl. And then I like, but like before I kind of like rummaged the thing, and I was like, oh, it's dare, kiss me. So it's like truth or dare, hoping that he picked dare. He picked dare, and then was like, oh, I dare you to kiss me. But then it was like, I don't know who it's gonna be. It's either
Oh
gonna be
yeah.
like him or her.
Oh
And then
my
she
god.
was like, kiss me, I'll kiss anybody. And then he just kind of grabbed me and kissed me.
Your first kiss?
We'll say that, sure. My first kiss is an out gay man.
On my show, you're hearing
But
that?
prior to that, my mom was like, I'm going to stay home to chaperone this party. Is like, whatever, you have to stay in your room. So I got a few drinks in me, and I went to her room, and I was like, Mom.
Oh
She's
my
like, yes,
god.
Tan. And I'm like, I think I like guys. And she's like, thinking she's going to be like, oh my God. She's like, looks at me, and she's like, I've known since you were 4.
I know my mother knows.
Here I was thinking I was
Hide
I
it.
was stealthing all my family. They're like, they don't know. He just plays with Barbies. He's got a tinsel wig. I look back and I'm like, there is a lot of signs played with Barbies, tinsel wig. We got the one Christmas, we got all these poncho towels that my great grandma had made us. And I pulled mine and my 2 siblings down onto my waist and wore it as a skirt. And yeah, so here I was thinking that like my family was fooled and they all knew. So they all took it well, but I also have a
uh,
gay auntie, so it was kind of like she paved the way for me in a
Aw,
way, in a sense.
you're so lucky. I just hope people who um are still trying to come out have an easy coming out like Celine does.
I hope so too. And then when I told my mom that I did drag, it was a little weird because I'm like, Mom, I dress up as a female entertainer, and she was like, Oh, cool.
Where's your mom now?
She's in Saskatoon.
Oh my gosh, she takes things well. That's great.
Um, yeah, she was like, "Oh yeah, okay, cool." Like, and then she came to a few shows. She was hesitant, I think, at first, but then she's come to shows. She understands it now. My grandma, my great aunt have come to shows, and they love it. They love
Aw.
seeing me. They're like my biggest supporters. Anytime I'm doing anything in North Battleford, they're front row, $20 bill in hand, ready to tip
Oh
me.
my god. What what do you do during your leisure? Like when you don't have anything to do,
Um,
what do you do?
a lot of cardio. Very into
Oh
voguing right
yeah,
now.
I saw some videos. I'm like, what are
I'm
you
just
trying
kidding.
to gain, bitch?
I
The ass?
Yes, I do. I do my little workouts I try to do my little workouts every morning just to maintain a nice healthy physique. I've got bad knees, so I'm trying to healthy them up. Um when I'm not dragging and I'm not working, you can find me at the grocery store being a little snack. My nickname is Little Debbie.
What's it
When
like
I've got
when
Swiss rolls.
I love them too? What do you how do you react when someone sees you out of drag?
What's up, bro?
He's like, just up, bro. Like, do they recognize you, or has anyone approached like, oh hi, Celine? Like,
Only people that
Well,
like follow me have approached me and said hi, Celine. But most people would be like, if you came to a show and you seen Celine, and then you came back the next week and you might be talking about Celine, I'll be like, I do drag well because I'm unclockable.
right, exactly. Same thing.
People don't recognize you.
Yeah, we have a lot of people in this building that go to the bar, right? So,
Gabii, Gabii is two different people.
The first time I was coming back from work, and then I said hi to this guy who would always say hi to me whenever he sees me at the bar, and then I said hi, and he was like, gave me this look.
It's like,
I
why
was
the
like, you
fuck
don't
did the door
remember?
bitch follow me home?
I was like, you don't remember me? And he was like, oh, hey, hey, The other day I locked my fob in my apartment, right? And I was downstairs, I was outside, and then I saw this guy who we always talk on Instagram. And I was like, oh my god, yeah, can you please open the door? And he was like, who's this? Because I didn't have my wig on, I didn't have anything.
Who's this bald-headed woman trying to get in my building?
I was like, oh, it's me. He was like, oh, okay.
And I bet you put that voice on. You're like, pulls back, no hair.
Right.
It's me, Gabii
like,
by nature.
And now I'm trying to come back to myself, like, because I remember last summer I didn't wear wigs or anything, right? I was always going out.
Wait, you wear wigs? I just thought this was your natural hair.
That's my natural hair, honey.
Nappy-headed hoe.
I went out last year without wearing wigs or anything, right?
I thought I recognized you. You were the kid on the milk carton.
Right?
Missing.
I was on... Okay, I guess it's time for Celine to get him.
We're done. This episode is trash. We've been talking for 45 minutes.
Well, anywho, thank you so much.
That's it?
Do you have more things to talk about?
One shady roast and you're done with me.
Yes, honey. No one shines up on me my show.
I've got things to plug, once this come out. Before June 17th? Yeah? No? Why are you acting like I just asked you what the capital of the U.S. is?
17.
No, it's awkward. Okay, so if this comes out before June 17th, you can find me at Dragfest in Lewis McKinney Park or St. Albert Pride. I also have a gig June 29th. It's a Thursday, 7 p.m. in Paul Kane Park in Oliver, as well as July 1st, Canada Day. You can find me on the stage of Evolution, where I rightfully belong, opening for Elliot with two T's. And if you want, sorry, I'm just going to step on your toes one more time. If you want all this and a bag of chips, you can follow me on Instagram at Celine.Dejion. It's a little period between my name, that's CELINE dot DEIDEJION, sorry.
Celine Dejion, you guys have it. I was going to say something. Just lost my train of thought.
It happens often.
So are you going to make all your new outfits for the shows you just mentioned, or are you going to wear your previous outfits? Because personally, I would not buy anything this Pride Month because I've spent way too much that I did, so yeah.
I make my stuff. Just kidding. I've got one outfit that I found fabric. I was just fabric shopping, but I go in and then I was like, oh, this fabric's kind of cute. So I bought, I think I now own 2.5 meters of it. So I'm going to make something maybe out of that. Whether or not it's for Pride or Elliot, we'll see. Other than that, I probably will just go through the closet. They're all 3 June events are all ages. So I'm sure I've got something in my closet that I can do. I'll just turn up on them with that Barbie dress.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I couldn't perform in that if I wanted to.
Really?
I would sweat to death.
Because it's leather, right?
Well, it's not leather, but it's like a pleathery, latexy vinyl.
Yeah. You really slayed. And I remember in the video because I took a recorded one, you said, how does the back look? And this one person goes, okay. And you were like, okay. That was funny because, why would you say okay? Okay. It took you hours
And she's like,
To, okay.
okay, I could have done better. Get off the
Like
stage.
I honestly don't like when people critique drag performers or drag
Oh,
queens
I love.
because
I'm like, critique me, critique me.
because like
Come up to me with the nerve and tell me my makeup is busted. While you sitting over there,
I
boo
mean
boo
Rob said
boo.
that yesterday, so what else do you want to say?
He didn't say it yesterday. When this comes out, it won't be yesterday.
Yeah, right.
Rob and I are friends. We're besties. He can roast me, and it's okay. I let it. It's water off a duck's back. Now, if somebody that I'm not friends with roasts me, it's a different thing.
True. What are your thoughts about new and upcoming baby drag queens? Because like, for example, if I go to a drag show as a
Just kidding.
guest, as a guest, I see people, one or two people say, "Oh yeah, I want to go into drag. I want to get into drag." And my first thought is,
Don't.
no,
Just
my
kidding.
first thought is, "Oh yeah, the sky is big enough for everyone, right?"
The
But
sky
like,
is big enough for everyone. Um, Hone in on like one. You can hone in on multiple aspects of drag. Whether it's gonna be like when I first started, it was performance based, and that's what I was. I wasn't a makeup artist by any means. I'm still not a makeup artist. I can beat my mug. I can beat other people a little bit. Um, but like hone in on a skill. So if you want it to be makeup, really become really great at makeup, and then just try to like get yourself familiarized. I would say like 3 songs because that like secures you for
exactly,
3 different
yeah.
shows, or if it's 2 songs per show, hone in on like just try to learn 6 songs. Then you're solid for 3 shows. Or outfits or so like hone in on either performance, outfits, or makeup, and then just as it kind of grows, just make it a full snowball.
Hmm.
But like, don't worry. I would say don't worry about spending like too much money because it's nobody really cares about how much money you spend or how much money you have. Just like start somewhere. So if you buy one pair of thigh high boots and 7 AliExpress bodysuits or cat suits, and that's what you're working with, work with it and make that money back and then invest in more.
When you say make that money back, what do you mean?
So like every gig almost is a paid gig, or you'll make tips, um, and just like use that money, use your drag money to put back towards your drag. So like get yourself 1 or 2 good wigs, use those, and you can use them over.
No one cares because it's not a competition, right?
It's
And that's
not.
what most people don't get because at first I almost put that pressure on myself, like, oh my god, yes, I know I'm getting better with my mugs and my face
Ugh.
makeup and everything, right? But like I know a few people who do this time. They're trying to be better and better and better and better and better. And like they keep forgetting that you go to a show on Friday, yeah, you're the star for the day, you're the star for the night, right? On Monday, everyone has gone back to their life, right? You've forgotten what you've done. Like someone on the previous episodes mentioned that performing at different locations is a blessing, unlike when you're just performing in one same location. Because most of the time, when you keep going to one particular location, it's more like it's the same people that always come back. So that puts a little pressure on like a performer. Like, oh my god, I wore this shoe yesterday. The same person who saw me yesterday is going to
But
see me with this shoe.
the
But
way to look at it is like you spent money on those shoes. Wear those shoes.
exactly,
You don't need to have 13,000 pairs of shoes. We see photos of people's closets and there's like 100 pairs of
everything.
shoes, but you don't have 100 feet.
And also like another thing is don't be pressured, right? Because like
Nope.
once you let that pressure get to you, trust me, you're gonna be doing way more than you can afford. I heard some people take loans. Some people take loans to do drag. Like as a person who worked for my money, and I spend even over 200 for a dress, and I'm like, what am I gonna do with this dress?
Was that worth 20 hours of my life? Like if you were making $10 an hour,
Oh my god!
or
Like and like that day, the first tip I made was like $75. Seventy
but that's
five
still
bucks with
something.
$100 pay, right? So that's 175. But I was still at a loss. But that was still something good.
It's
But
some
then I wouldn't want to wear that dress again because everybody knows me wearing that dress. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um, but you could wear that dress and just do a different song
Exactly
because then it's a
true.
whole new
The
scape.
thing, yeah.
Something that I was really bad at, kind of when I first started, was, but mind you, we were doing once a month and themes, so it was kind of like, oh, I need an outfit for this song to do this theme, and so then it was just kind of like that's how I grew my drag closet. But I was also shopping at like thrift stores when back before it was really popular and it was a little bit cheaper
Oh,
and
really?
feasible. Um,
Things like a pair of earrings and a necklace is over $200, and I'm like,
yeah, I was into jewelry. I'm just getting into like earrings. I used to just be a naked earlobe and chokers. Oh, I touched my mic. Whoops, sorry. Um, and then like that's another thing I would say. Don't count how much money someone else in the room
Make
got. That's not your business. Just worry about your own and don't take it as I only made this much. I only made this much because there was a time when um I was out there, I would do 4 numbers in a night and I would walk away with $20 and that was like my to date best night. $20. So I made $5 a song. So I mean I'm like it just I don't know. Don't be greedy, and if you're doing it for the money, you're doing it for the wrong reasons, and just don't maybe try to find a different hobby.
true, yeah.
Do paintings and sell them.
I mean, like that is true. To be able to do your mug, because I feel like most of these artists or queens or performers who have great mugs or who are good at doing the mugs, like they're great painters, or great artists to draw in. Because when I was in high school, I hated biology, so you tell me to draw a fish, I don't know what I'm doing. You tell me to draw a heart. What the
You
hell am
still
I?
don't know what you're doing.
Exactly, so like those things gave me anxiety. So now you're telling me to draw it on my face when I can't even draw something in front of me. You're telling me to draw something I can't even see. You know,
Backwards in a mirror.
it was
Woo!
a struggle, but then I guess yes, I'm picking the pace. I've gotten a little feedback from some makeup artists in the business, right? So that's great. But then I was telling someone that if we were able to get the transfer tip, like tipping through online instead of cash, I believe, or I feel, or I know that we'll get more money than the $5 we're getting. Because
Then be inventful in how you can get that out there. Get that information to people.
true, I think I'm gonna do something like that. Watch out, because I feel like most people don't want to leave their seats. I remember last year, um the first drag show I attended wasn't in Buckingham, but the first drag show I attended at Evo was hosted by Bull Creep,
Okay.
and then I was like, I knew what was happening, but then I'm like, what are they doing? I didn't know about the tipping, because then I saw people going to tip five
Giving monies.
dollars, but then I had this anxiety in me. I was like, oh my God, how do I stand up and go give them money? So not everyone has the courage to literally stand up to go tip, and like God mentioned earlier, God was like, oh yeah, you have to go around to collect the money. I'm sorry, someone like me or other dancers who have learned choreos
Oh,
for
you're a dancer?
days. I'm a dancer. You didn't know that?
Is that what we're calling it? I'm just kidding.
Okay, we're done with this show. you know,
This
who
bitch.
who